Hi everybody, Kira here at Unfurl, and today I am exploring the question of how do we feel safe enough in relationship to feel unsafe? Okay, so that sounds a bit convoluted, but here's where I'm going to go with this. I made a recent video which is about, do you like yourself better when you're on your own? And so many people resonated with this, and they said they prefer themselves so much better when they're on their own, and they feel safe when they're on their own. And lots of people have made the decision that they would prefer to never be in a romantic relationship, because being on their own feels so much more relaxing and so much easier, and that's what they have chosen to do. And so for those people that feel completely content with that decision, perfect, brilliant, that's their choice and that's what they want. But for me, I find myself sometimes thinking, oh, it's just easier to be on my own. I can relax, and relationships are too hard. And I fantasize then about living this life, somewhere on the west coast of Ireland in the middle of nowhere in a little cottage and just enjoying nature. And as much as that appeals to me on one level, I know that I deeply long for connection with another life companion. So those two things are there at the same time. The part of me that feels safer on my own, but the part of me that still longs for that intimate connection. And I think this is something that lots of people can relate to. They want the connection, but it just seems so hard and so fraught with anxiety that, why would you put yourself through that? So what's coming up for me in my own therapy at the moment is this feeling of unsafe in relationship. It's coming up with my therapist, the part of me that feels, oh, I'm getting this wrong. Does she disapprove of what I'm saying? So I'm watching it in motion. And then the other day during the session was the first time that I was actually able to name it. As it was happening, I said to her, I feel unsafe. And she said to me, well, what is it? What is it that's happening that has you feeling this way? And I'm able to say to her, and this is what happens when you build a trusting relationship with your therapist, that you can actually be honest with the therapist as the experience is active internally. This is the only way that we can actually fully become conscious of what happens to us in relationship. It's when we're actually in awareness of it as it's happening, and we're working through it as it's alive in us. So I said to her that previously I had a therapist who was very warm and very loving and very motherly. And I felt completely safe and relaxed in that relationship. But this therapist is not like that. She has a different style, a different way of being, that it sometimes can seem quite reserved and almost quite stern. And I'm even gonna venture the word cold. And yet I'm doing the deepest work with this therapist. And she said to me the other day, well, if you feel unsafe in this relationship, maybe I'm not the therapist for you. Maybe you don't have to keep coming to me. Maybe it's a different therapist that you need. And I said, no, I have to keep coming. And she said, why? And I said, because there's a very stubborn part of me wants to know how to feel safe when I feel unsafe. How do I help myself to feel safe in relationships that feel unsafe? Now, I know that seems really strange, but I realize now, how else can I meet the unsafe feeling that has been for all this time unconscious within me, unless it is awake in me and I'm with it as it's happening? Because yeah, I could leave this therapist. I could go off and live in a little cottage on the west coast of Ireland, and this would never be active in me. But you can see then that this inner child is trapped, holding the feeling of unsafe. So the only way I can ever allow this unconscious part, this traumatized part, relationally traumatized part, to heal, is to be in a relationship that feels safe enough to meet this part of me that feels unsafe. And that's with this therapist. There's something about her. I feel safe in this relationship, but there's something about her way of being that activates this part in me. And now I'm meeting it with curiosity. There's a part of me that, I just want the session to be over with my therapist. I just want to get away. So this is the part of me that feels unsafe. And there's this stubborn part of me that goes, okay, how do I meet this part? How can I let this child who has been carrying this unexpressed trauma, how can I be with this part and hold it while the unsafeness is awake? Because at the end of the day, I know that I would like in the future to have a stable, loving, connected relationship. But because this part that goes, relationships are unsafe, has been kicking in out of my awareness over and over, my knee-jerk reaction is, got to get out of here, got to leave the relationship. The relationship is not right for me. This is the wrong person. And so all these stories come into my mind, but all the while driving it has been this unconscious feeling of, I'm getting it wrong. This person disapproves of me. So it all goes unchecked. It all goes unminded. This inner child stays frozen in a state of unsafe. And I don't want to leave this part of me holding that. I want to heal it. I want to heal this relational trauma. And I know that when I'm home alone, yes, I feel very relaxed and at ease, but it still means that in my nervous system is unexpressed experience that is driving me and holding me back from something that I know I want in life. Not just romantic relationships, but also deep friendships. And really, when we come down into the very core of it, what we're really talking about here is my relationship with myself. Being present to myself, being in connection with myself, being in awareness, the warm, loving, supportive part of myself, the presence that I am, the presence that we all are, being able to hold warmly the unsafe feeling of this inner child. And through the presence of my own awareness with this part, with this energy, a settling will come to it. And I don't know how I know that, but I just know it. I know it. I have a deep knowing. The only way to heal this part is to bring myself into a situation where it is awake and conscious enough, I'm conscious enough of it, to sit with it and meet it in the way it needs to be met in order for this piece to resolve, for it to heal. So that's why I know that working with this therapist is really key right now, because I feel safe enough in this relationship with her to express the unsafe feeling as it's happening and working my way through it. I don't know what the future holds in terms of relationships, romantic relationships or friendships or anything, but I do know, deeply know, this part of me is waiting for resolution. And that the only way through this is to sit in the discomfort of the unsafe feeling. So watch this space. All I'm going to say is watch this space. All I'm going to say, it's taken me 10 minutes to just say this. Watch this space. I am working through this, and I know that for many people who are wrestling with this, you may not know how to get through this. You may not know. You might experience it regularly, but turn away from it because you're not in the relationship where it can be healed. And romantic relationships can also be a place where this can happen. Healing can happen when you're with someone that sort of deeply you feel safe with, so that when these feelings come up, you can also meet it and talk about it. But if you're not in that kind of romantic relationship or intimate relationship, then a healing relationship with a therapist will have the same, will present the same opportunities. So that's it for today, really. This is where I'm at in my journey right now, and as always, I like to share it because we're all working through this together, aren't we? We're gathering our information, we're watching the videos, and people are saying things. It's like, oh yeah, I get it. So yeah, if you're wrestling with the feeling of unsafe, it won't come up with everybody. It'll only come up with certain friends or certain people, and it'll happen so quickly. You'll have that instant sense of, I just want to get away from here. I want to go home now. And it's not necessarily anything to do with what they're doing or saying, but there's something about their way of being that is triggering that inner child based on a relationship they've had in the past. So in your childhood, early childhood, a parent or a caregiver, you've had a sort of similar experience, only over an extended period of time, that's led you to believe relationships are unsafe. And it also makes sense of why I ended up in a dysfunctional relationship for a very long time. It felt unsafe. It felt very unsafe, but I didn't know I felt unsafe. This stubborn part of me was trying to resolve it by, okay, maybe if I do this, I can feel safe in this relationship. Okay, if I try really hard and do it this way, oh, maybe if I don't do that and I become more of this. So I was trying to contort myself to feel safe, but I had no awareness I was doing any of that ultimately the relationship was unsafe and was not a good relationship or a healthy relationship for me to be in. But I can really get this now, why often if we've had traumatic relational experiences, we will be drawn into unsafe romantic relationships and stay stuck in them for a very long time, because unconsciously we are trying to work something out, but we don't know what it is that we're trying to work out. And until we become conscious of that, we can stay stuck in those relationships for a really long time, which is exactly what I did. So now I'm in a healthy relationship where I can feel unsafe with my therapist and work it out in a healthy, conscious way. Okay, that's it for today. I'm sending lots of love to everybody wherever you are on your journey. And if you're enjoying the videos, like and subscribe. Bye for now.